This is your statewide newscast, Arkansas Today.
Good Monday afternoon. I'm Mallory Brooks. Thanks for watching Arkansas Today. The cloud of collusion that has loomed over President Trump's presidency for nearly 2 years has been lifted. That is according to Attorney General William Barr, who turned over a 4-page letter to Congress Sunday summarizing the findings of the 2-year-long Mueller investigation. NBC's Kristen Welker explains.
President Trump claiming victory and vindication.
So it's complete exoneration, no collusion, no obstruction. This was an illegal takedown that failed.
Press Secretary Sarah Sanders echoing that sentiment earlier with Savannah.
Would you acknowledge it is incorrect for the president to call this a total exoneration?
Not at all. It is. It is a complete and total exoneration, and here's why. Because the special counsel, they said they couldn't make a decision one way or the other. The way the process works is then they leave that up to the Attorney General. The Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General went through and based their decision on Mueller's investigation. This wasn't based on just their own ideas and their own thinking. It was based on Mueller's investigation.
Those fiery words coming after Attorney General William Barr gave Congress a summary of the report by Special Counsel Robert Mueller Sunday evening. On the main question of whether the Trump campaign colluded with Russia, the report was crystal clear. Quote, the special counsel's investigation did not find that the Trump campaign or anyone associated with it conspired or coordinated with Russia in its efforts to influence the 2016 U.S. presidential election. But on the other key question, whether the president tried to obstruct justice, the special counsel didn't give a definitive answer, leaving it to the Attorney General to decide whether to charge the president with a crime. Barr telling lawmakers while Mueller's report does not conclude that the president committed a crime, it also does not exonerate him. But Barr and his deputy Rod Rosenstein concluded Mr. Trump's conduct did not reach the threshold of a crime. Initially fueling those concerns about obstruction, a number of actions by the president, including firing former FBI Director James Comey. And when Mr. Trump said this to Lester Holt.
When I decided to just do it, I said to myself, I said, you know, this Russia thing with Trump and Russia is a made-up story.
The chairman of the House Judiciary Committee demanding to see the full report and threatening to use subpoena power, if necessary, to get it.
As much information can be made public, should be made public without delay.
And while many Republicans, including the president, have expressed support for releasing the findings, they also say it's time to turn the page. Senator Lindsey Graham writing in a statement overnight, now it is time to move on and govern the country. For Mr. Trump, returning to the White House late Sunday, a simple sentiment for a monumental moment.
I just want to tell you that America is the greatest place on earth. The greatest place on earth. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And that was Kristen Welker reporting. While there are bipartisan calls to release the report, the big question now is how much will Congress and the public get to see? Attorney General Barr is working to sort through those questions. He has not issued any timeline on when Congress or the American public might see more. Washington County voters will soon be heading to the polls to decide on a multi-million-dollar bond issue in a special election. If approved, a combined $50 million of the $226 million generated would go towards police and firefighting facility improvements. 7 fire stations are spread across the city of Fayetteville, but there are gaps in their locations. That Assistant Fire Chief Brad Harden says needs to be fixed. Over at the Fayetteville Police Department, Sergeant Anthony Murphy says space is tight.
We've been in this building since 1993. The City of Fayetteville Police Department had 93 employees in 1993. In turn now, I believe we have 180 employees, something like that, and we're inside the same building.
Give us a better distribution across the city. What we're shooting for is 4 minutes of travel time. After we get these stations added, we should have pretty much, it'll be 90% of the addresses inside the city limits will be covered.
This bond referendum would not be a new cost to taxpayers, but an extension of the city's 1-penny sales tax. Early voting will be held on April 8th at the Washington County Clerk's office on College Avenue. The Natural States Racing Commission has approved casino gaming starting next month. The Oaklawn and Hot Springs and Southland and West Memphis will start on April 1st. The commission also decided they would accept casino license applications during May that could impact Pope and Jefferson counties. A group of students from Southern Arkansas University using their spring break to help a Florida community still cleaning up from hurricane damage. The 50 students made the 10-hour drive down to the Panhandle to lend a helping hand. They made the trip back home on Saturday, but not before leaving a lasting impression on the people they helped.
Be it helping people, listening to their stories, that's a key part is, getting to know what it was like for them, having all this damage.
It just makes you stop and think about, the things that do happen in the world that you don't necessarily see every day.
More helpful groups of college kids are expected to arrive in the Panhandle throughout the spring break season. Spending hours in front of a screen while snacking could be bad for a teen's health. Brazilian researchers studied nearly 34,000 teens. Those who spend at least 6 hours a day in front of the TV or computer while eating were more likely to have problems with their metabolism. That's compared to teens who did not eat during their time in front of the screen. Teens who have problems with their metabolism could be at an increased risk of developing heart disease and diabetes. Let's take a look at the day ahead. They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Well, today is a good day to celebrate. It's National Waffle Day. New Jersey is poised to become the 11th state to legalize marijuana. Lawmakers could make the Garden State even greener. They're expected to vote for the legalization of recreational marijuana. And the Washington Capitals will visit the White House today. The NFL Stanley Cup champions won't be arriving with a full roster. Several members disagreeing with the president's agenda and remarks saying they will stay true to their values and not attend that event. Taking a look back on this day in history, in 1634, English colonists sent by Lord Baltimore arrived in present-day Maryland. In 1965, Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. led 25,000 people to the Alabama state capitol in Montgomery after a 5-day march from Selma to protest the denial of voting rights to blacks. In 1991, Dances with Wolves won 7 Oscars, including Best Picture. At the 63rd Annual Academy Awards, Kathy Bates won Best Actress for Misery, while Jeremy Irons received Best Actor for Reversal of Fortune. We are only 5 months away from the Hogs' first